Easy. Is Chad coming? Is Chad coming over? Is Chad coming? Are you excited about Chad? Yeah, a little bit. Oh, he's on his way. He's on his way. Hey there. Welcome to Toy Talk with Mike and Chad, episode 47. I'm Mike.
I'm Chad.
And the toys that we're going to be talking about today are more G.I. Joe classified figures.
It's getting out of hand, man.
Yeah, every time you come over, we have to do a whole dedicated show to G.I. Joe.
It's like we've gone back and forth because we've had like 3 or 4, and we're like, well, this one's shipping. Should we wait for it to come in? And then, sure enough, that one ships, and then we get a notification that more are shipping, and then work and life and everything, and then it's like we're up to like 15 or so that we have to talk about today.
Yeah, it seems like Hasbro has completely abandoned the idea of waves.
Yeah,
when it comes to G.I. Joe, like with Marvel, like there's a lot of Marvel Legends figures, but they come in like waves of 6. Like you get it, you're like that wave is out, and then I'll wait a while till the next wave is out. G.I. Joe, there's just like a new one every friggin' week. There's another one you got to deal with,
and it's so unpredictable too, because when we get orders from like Hasbro Pulse or something, our buddy Justin at the local GameStop gives us a call and is like, yeah, I got these in for you this week. And it's like, mother of God, I didn't know that they were going to come in. And then it's like, you were expecting them this date and they somehow get them before the Hasbro street date. I don't know what's happening, but
I know, it's crazy. So like we have, I don't know, more than 10 figures to talk about today.
Yeah.
Since we got together to talk about G.I. Joes a month ago, maybe not
almost. It was after my convention there. So
like maybe 3.5 weeks ago, and we already have 10 G.I. Joes to talk about. And I have, like, I don't know about you, but like, so in my order at Big Bad Toy Store, so the way, Big Bad Toy Store, that's where I buy most of my online toys. They have like a pile of loot function, so you buy the items and they hold them for you until you tell them to ship it. So I have another G.I. Joe figure, Agent Helix, in my pile of loot. She's been sitting there for a week already.
Okay.
So I could have her, any time now, but I'm kind of waiting for some more toys to pile up. And then there was 3 Walmart exclusives.
Get me started with Walmart.
I got the email that they are, like, I got charged and they are shipping soon. So the label has been created. I don't have a date yet. But so that's Shooter, Mole Rat, and the Crimson Alley.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all that is to say that I have 4 more G.I. Joes basically in the mail as we speak, let alone, I don't know how many pre-orders we have outstanding, but there's a lot.
There are a lot.
Yeah, now, one cool thing that happened since we last talked about G.I. Joe was Hasbro did their unboxing of the Hiss Tank.
Yeah.
So I pre-ordered the Hiss Tank from HasLab, which was kind of like a crowd-funded, this expensive 6-inch scale Hiss Tank. And with all those electronic bits and everything, and it looks awesome.
It looks amazing. I watched that video and was like, man, if I had that money to have backed that would have been incredible.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I'm slightly jealous.
And they say they're going to ship it before the end of the year, which they've been saying all along. I think the estimated date was always late 2023. Yeah. I hope I get it before Christmas, or at the very least before the end of the calendar year, because
so that it qualifies for your...
Well, yeah, I'd like to consider the figures that it comes with and everything for my best of the year list. Plus, it just, when I've got, like, I get toys every single Christmas, but there's not too many big, awesome toys that I get for Christmas that blow my mind, because I buy everything I want all year long. So when Christmas comes around, I just buy more of the toys that I wanted, or my wife buys me more of the toys that I wanted that I would have bought myself. But having the Hiss Tank show up in the mail with a big giant box, open in a G.I. Joe vehicle, the first one ever really at the 6-inch scale, it's exciting. It's going to take me right back to being a kid. And it'll suck if it like rolls in on like January 3rd.
Yeah.
I'd like to have it for Christmas, but we'll see. Anyway, we should probably cut to the chase because we got a lot of G.I.
We got a lot of Joes to talk about.
All right, so where do you want to start? The box set?
Yeah, that's probably a good one to talk about because it's straightforward with repaints.
All right, Casey's a little fidgety here. So, yeah, this was announced a little while ago because what was this? A San Diego exclusive?
Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah, I get confused because there's New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, Joe Fest. They all have exclusives, but yeah, I think this was San Diego Comic Con exclusive. And then I was able to order it on Hasbro Pulse's website. And then our local GameStop, our buddy Justin, called us and said, I've got these in if you want them. And so we were able to get the box set pretty early. I think we had them before a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, Casey, you got to stop licking it. I'm going to put her on the floor. I don't know if she'll stay down there. But, so yeah, here's the box set. So this is very cool packaging.
Super cool.
So it is I know it just kind of looks like a box, but it's supposed to look like a briefcase. It's got the little handle and the clips. Now, if they really wanted to go all out, that would have been cool if this handle had
lifted up.
Like you could actually carry it like a briefcase. But anyway, mine's going to go in the garbage, so I don't really care that much, but
I might keep mine.
I'm tempted to, but I just threw out a bunch more in my boxes. And man, it pains me to do that. I don't keep all my boxes, but I keep nice ones, or I keep ones for like valuable, or like convention exclusives. But I just have so many that I had to just tear a bunch up the other day, and it's like, oh, it kills me. So yeah, this one here is fit for the garbage can too. But anyway, so it says it's got the Cobra logo on one side. It says Extended Enterprises on this side because that is the legal corporation run by Tomax and Xamot. They are kind of the corporate villains that work for Cobra. And so, yeah, you slide this sleeve off, and you've got the same thing on the inside. Cobra logo on the back.
Love the beat-up aspect of the briefcase.
Yeah, when you take the sleeve off, then all of a sudden there's got like some scuffs and like some blood stains or something on the briefcase, and you're kind of wondering, like, what happened here? Why is the briefcase all beat up? Anyway, there's a magnet on the top. You lift the flap up there. And then you open it up like so.
I just love the artwork in that case. That's why I can't throw it away.
Yeah, so inside you've got like it's this very high-tech briefcase with, you see Tomac, Xamot, and the Baroness all freaking out through a screen. And you get the impression that they're talking to somebody through a camera being like, what? And they're all like freaking out. And then you've got these gold bars that have the Cobra emblem on them, which is kind of cool. And then on the flip side of that, you have this, what looks like supposed to be a file folder with the blueprints for the Cobra Battle Android Trooper. So it's a nice presentation. And then you take that off, and inside is where the three figures were sitting, and inside, each of them has their own little compartment here where their accessories were stored. So, pretty nice set.
Yeah.
So the figures. So I'll let you talk because I've been going off here. So you get the first word on these guys.
So these guys are like straight up repaints of the pre-release
Tomax and Xamot, yeah,
in their blue uniforms. Not much to talk about here. The one thing that kind of annoys me, and we've talked about this before, is look how easy it was for Hasbro to provide bases.
I know. And these are nice bases.
These are nice bases. All gold with their name, Crimson Strike Xamot, Crimson Strike Tomax.
It's a lot like the bases they gave with all of the 4-inch figures.
Yeah.
They all came with a base. They all had their own name on it. The bad guys had a Cobra emblem, like kind of embroidered or etched into the... Yeah. And then the Joes had the G.I. Joe logo. And they're thin. They don't take up much space on the shelf. These are great little display stands. And yet...
and you throw them in with the retro carded ones. So, like, how difficult is it? Just add it in.
I know.
You're charging a premium for some of these figures, and you're not even getting a base. Like,
yeah, for every figure of mine that comes with a knife or a pistol, I would happily trade in that knife or pistol
for a base.
And I don't even care if it says the character's name or has the logo.
Yeah.
Just give me a little black rectangle. That's all I need.
But back to these guys. Yeah, you got your typical Xamot with his scar there. Kind of cool to see them in the crimson colors, I don't really have too much to say about them because they're repaints.
Yeah, like this is a cool repaint. Like I love Tomax and Zaymot.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, me and my brother split the 2-pack. So I owned Tomax, he owned his twin brother Zaymot, and they came in the blue outfits with the red sash. So those were the only figures that we had when we were young. But in the cartoon, because Tomax and Zaymot led extensive enterprises, they very often featured like 3-piece suits.
Yeah.
And I kind of always wanted a figure of them in a 3-piece suit, which we did eventually get in the early 2000s, which was pretty cool. I didn't really have a hankering for them in red because there wasn't really any precedent for it until 2002. So you're familiar, I know you weren't really into G.I. Joe in the early 2000s and stuff, but you're familiar with the G.I. Joe Collectors Club at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of like, the fan club of G.I. Joe. And they used to have a convention every year. And it started off as more of a focus on the 12-inch G.I. Joe from the 60s. And so every convention they would have an exclusive G.I. Joe figure, which was like a 12-inch doll, with some new accessory, Jungle Adventure G.I. Joe or, Space Mission G.I. Joe. And 2002 was the first year that the focus of the convention kind of shifted to the smaller 4-inch Joes. And the first set they ever made was the Crimson Strike team that had Tomax, Zaymot, Baroness in red for the first time, and then 12 Vipers in red that were all identical. So that's where the precedent for this comes from.
And don't get me wrong, I'd like to see them in these colors just because, Crimson Twins and then they're in blue and gray.
Yeah, it was always kind of weird.
It's nice to see them actually in crimson, but...
yeah, they look good in red. I loved these figures from the first time we got them. Tomax made my best of the year list last year. He obviously won't make it again because now that I've had the figure for a year, some of the shine is off of it. But he looks really good like this. Zaymon as well. They're pretty much identical, so there's not a whole lot to say. But yeah, very solid figures. And then the other figure in this set is the Baroness.
Which I am happy to get because the only Baroness figure I got was the G.I. Joe classified Snake Eyes version, so I don't really count that as the true Baroness. So
the movie version.
Yeah, so this was nice to get my hands on. The one complaint I do have about her is the alternate head that came with like the lip. It's like she was biting her lip. Or it was like a sneer or something.
Yeah, so I have
it looks super derpy.
I don't think mine does. Maybe it's just you get a weird paint job, but I haven't looked at it that closely. But yeah, she came with 3 heads.
Yeah, the mask one, then the one where she's just got her like straight stare, and then the lip biting one. But I don't know, it just looked super derpy. So.
Yeah, like she is sneering, so you can see her teeth in it. But like, yeah, I don't recall. Like,
they could have pronounced the lip bite a little more.
Okay, but I don't know if she's supposed to be biting her lip, right? She's snarling type of thing.
Yeah,
sneering. So yeah,
but she's cool.
I like this figure. I don't love it. I find with a lot of Baronesses in the smaller scale, she ended up looking kind of weird just because girls have thinner frames and sometimes they end up looking kind of like lanky. Yeah. And I feel this one kind of has that a little bit. Like looking at her, how she holds her gun. Her arms are a little weirdly shaped. The way her hair sits, it kind of pushes her head forward, so she almost kind of has like a little bit of a hunch.
I did the wind blowing hair.
Yeah, like one cool thing they did with this figure is they gave you 3 heads, and with the 3 heads, the hair comes off, so you've got 2 different haircuts, and then she's got 2 sets of glasses.
Yeah, a modern set, and then the traditional circle frames.
Yeah, so depending on which face you like you like you don't like the sneer,
no,
but you like the flowing hair, so you put the flowing hair on her. I've got the flat hair and the normal face, and then she has a weird mask face, which I don't understand. I don't know what that's all about. It's a weird mask.
Yeah, I just kind of threw that in my spare parts.
Yeah.
Bag.
But like this face, is the most Baroness looking face of the 6-inch Joes so far. Like, the movie figure, I think, is okay, but it looks like the actress. It doesn't look like Baroness. And this one looks more like Baroness than the previous one that came with, like, the motorcycle or came on the retro card. But I don't think that makes it better. I actually still really love the one that came on the retro card. I think she's just a little bit more contemporary. Her outfit's a little more updated. I think her face is actually prettier. I kind of like her cat eye glasses. Like, even though this is more classic with the big round Baroness glasses, it's just it's a good figure, but I prefer the other one that I have. And then she's got her little metal cobra and some extra guns and knives.
Yeah.
Anything more?
I don't think so. I was excited to get her.
Okay, so we just had to cut to let my dog out, and we realized that the Crimson Strike team was an exclusive, but it wasn't San Diego, because this set was the San Diego.
I want to say it was the Joe.
Yeah, it was...
Because it was a really short release window. Like, they announced it, and then it seemed like it was in stores a couple days later.
Yeah, I think was it just like a Pulse Con, or it was one
maybe it was a Pulse Con.
One of those things that Hasbro does. Anyway, so that was where that one came from. And then for San Diego, they released this figure. Now, was there an outer box on this one too? There might have been.
No.
But anyway, so this one here, if you notice, this is Chuckles, and he's kind of laughing, and he's holding up the file folder. He's holding up this thing here in his hand. So this implies to me that this is supposed to be connected to the other set. It's even got the Extent of Enterprises logo on the back. Yeah. So, and it's kind of small here. I'll have to do an insert, but you can see there's a little insert of the Crimson Twins and Baroness.
They're all freaking
out. So yeah, he's like on the other side of the camera being like, I got away with your files. And yeah, so that's kind of a neat little throwback. A fun box. But again, gonna go in the garbage. My dog is scratching at the door, so I gotta let the dog in now. Alright. Come in. Oh good.
Nope.
She brought a squeaky toy, so just what we needed. So she's sitting right underneath the microphone with her squeaky toy. And I can't win because, like, if I put her out of the room,
she'll scratch
while we film. She either scratches at the door relentlessly,
or
she barks.
Yeah.
It's like she'll be just upstairs staring out the window, barking at anything. So I think if I bring her in here, she'll be quiet. But
alas, she brought a squeaky toy.
Yeah. However many of these, 1,000, 5,000, we're putting them on the website.
Yeah,
but they seem to release them in little. Like, here's a trickle of them. Like, here's...
Chuckles was an interesting add to the collection. Like, basically, when you told me about the... it was Devil's Due arc?
IDW.
Yeah. You told me about, like, the backstory about how he's undercover and infiltrated Cobra. And I did a little research on that, so... I thought this figure was really fun. Like, I like the Hawaiian style shirt. I like that they gave... I love that they gave the alternate head where he was beat up and, like, missing teeth.
Yeah.
It was a really nice addition. I like how you can store everything in his briefcase. The one thing I found really odd, though, are the sunglasses he comes with. I wish they would have put little peg holes like they've done with the Baroness and other figures that wear glasses so they stay in place. Because if you try to put them on, they fall off his face because his nose isn't prominent enough.
She's ripping a hole in him, and then she pulls the fluff out and chokes on it. She's not allowed to have him once he's got fluff. So nope, you lost him. No toys for you.
But yeah, this is a really cool character. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed opening Chuckles and looking at the stuff he came with. And just the little file folder that he's got that's the same on the box that he stole. I thought that was a cool addition to it.
Yep. One thing else, so I don't usually talk about the inside box very much, but like every one of these G.I. Joe classified figures, when you open up the outer box, they always come with a little box like this, which is kind of like a little foot locker.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I throw them all out. I don't know, some people might want to keep them. And then inside the foot locker, you get a little paper bag with their accessories.
The paper bag was fun.
One thing I wanted to mention about Chuckles, the only reason I'm mentioning it, is that once you open up his little foot locker here, the paper bag is floral. It's got all the little flowers, just like his shirt, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's got a ton of accessories. I'll have to do an insert, but yeah, he's got sunglasses. He's got a file folder. He's got a lei that go around his neck.
He's got headphones
and a Walkman that looks like Soundwave.
Yeah.
From Transformers. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff.
Like, yeah, genuinely a fun character. But I think that was my only gripe about the sunglasses, because if I would have wanted to display him with the beat up face, I probably would have had the sunglasses on him. But he's cool.
Yeah, like I wasn't a huge Chuckles fan when I was a kid, because the original one came out in '87 and he was kind of plain looking. Like I would say he was kind of an ugly guy, the way he was sculpted. And then he was introduced in the G.I. Joe animated cartoon, which we watched together not that long ago. And they portrayed him as kind of just a lunky meathead.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at one point he like just picks up a missile off of a tank and just runs with it and throws it at another tank. Like he was just like a big oafish kind of guy. And I didn't, like, he was supposed to be, they're undercover agent, and it just didn't come across that way in the cartoon. I don't remember him doing anything significant in the 80s comic books. I'm sure he was featured a couple of times, but nothing that sticks out. But yeah, then when IDW, they did a series called Cobra, which focused on Chuckles infiltrating Cobra. And for the first time, they really fleshed this character out. And they made him a real badass, and it was just a really cool comic.
Because it was like a 4-year undercover mission or something, wasn't it? That he was like, I did a little bit of research on it.
Yeah, I forget how long the series ran. I think they did Cobra, which was maybe like 10 issues, and then they did Cobra 2, which was like another 10 issues.
But like the time span for the actual mission itself was like 4 years.
I don't remember. It's
been
years since I've read those, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I feel this figure is the first time Chuckles is kind of getting his due, that he actually looks like he's handsome in this figure. He looks good. It's a nice sculpt. He's got lots of cool accessories, handcuffs, all that other stuff we talked about. So yeah, I'm really pleased with him.
I like that the watch comes off too.
I didn't even notice that, but he must have to take his hands off and then slide his watch off.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I like the deco on the Hawaiian shirt. If I had one kind of complaint, maybe, is I would say, like, who tucks in a Hawaiian shirt into their pants?
It was the 80s.
Even then, I don't think so.
No? Well, also, who wears that color with green pants?
I don't know. I can forgive the colors. Hawaiian shirts are supposed to be kind of loud and obnoxious, but tucking in a Hawaiian shirt just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, cool figure. Let's move on to the next one.
Also, when I was in high school and wore a bunch of Hawaiian shirts, I never tucked mine in.
Okay, so, I thought you were about to tell me that you did tuck in your Hawaiian shirts.
No.
And I was about to be like, and that is why you don't have a girlfriend.
That is actually not why, but...
Alright, so let's talk about this one. This is one of the lesser exciting ones of the batch we have to talk about. But he's still cool. This is Tiger Force Flint. So this is a repaint of the Flint we already got. He is repainted to look like the Tiger Force version of Flint that came out in, I want to say, 1988 originally. And they've recreated that figure pretty well, except they've added face paint. The original one never had face paint. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this guy?
Well,
did you get him?
I didn't get him just because I came in so late to the classified line that I was already missing a couple Tiger Force figures. And for me, I guess it wasn't a priority to get repaints of the same figures. Kicking myself in the ass now because, I would have liked to have gotten them. I do like his shotgun. That's super cool. with the little shells hanging off the side. I don't know really what else to say to him. I think like the eye paint does look a little weird, especially if his vintage figure didn't have that.
And this is one of the things I feel almost bad for the Hasbro designers, because the people that don't like what they do always seem to be the outspoken, like, minority.
Yeah.
Like, I feel the people that are just pleased with what they're doing, like you and me. I don't comment on all their social media or anything, but whenever I see a picture on their social media, it's filled with hateful, like, this sucks, why'd you do this, you should have done that. And people really hated this face paint on him. Like, why did you do it? The vintage one didn't have that, blah, blah, blah. And, like, I kind of agree, because I don't think I like the face paint. But at the same time, it's like, why not? Like, it makes... The whole idea of Tiger Force was that they would go out, they're in camo, they have all these tiger stripes, which I think was supposed to make them a little more camouflaged in the jungle, so, like Dusty, he, they've got face paint on him, which they had added, which the vintage Tiger Force Dusty didn't have paint.
Yeah.
And nobody had a problem with that. That's one thing that maybe actually is a better idea than the vintage figure, but people just don't want to embrace changes.
But I mean, I think it differentiates it enough to make it like a different figure, because otherwise you're just going to have the standard Flint face. Would I buy him if I could? Yes, if I get the chance, but I think it's going to be relatively hard for me to get all the Tiger Force figures now to track some of them down.
Really? I don't think so.
No?
Like, who do you think is most, like, you missed what? Bazooka's still around.
Bazooka's still around. I missed Dusty, but he's around.
Dusty's around. Duke's around.
Flint's around.
Outback. I don't know.
Okay, maybe not then.
I think you could get him. Alright, so Flint was okay.
I said, don't twist my or twist.
Now this next one, I don't know how you feel about this guy. This is another one that I'm not as excited about as I maybe should be, because this is Firefly, the Cobra Saboteur, originally released in 1984. He is a classic character. He's an important character to the G.I. Joe like mythology and everything. You did get this figure, right?
Yeah.
And
I loved him. But that being said, I didn't have the previous classified version. Mm-hmm. And from my understanding, all they really did is change the paint a little. They gave him like this vest. Did he have that vest?
Well, no, see, they've done more than that, but that's kind of what diminishes him for me, is they put out a Firefly in like wave 2 or something, and me and a lot of other people, I wasn't vocal about it, but a lot of people online were like, this figure sucks, because he wasn't identical to the figure that people had as a kid. And I feel people need to like let go of that a little bit. Like, I like the characters to look recognizable, but I don't think they need to be exact recreations of what we had as a kid.
Close is good.
And I thought that one, there were some things that I wouldn't have done myself. Like, he had a very big, he's standing right there on my desk. So he had a very big, heavy, like, flak vest on, kind of like you would expect somebody in like the Hurt Locker to wear, because he's dealing with explosives. And it was much bulkier than people are used to seeing Firefly. But it kind of made sense for the character. And I didn't take it off, but you can take it off if you want to. So, if you hate the vest, take the vest off. And they also gave him a face. His face was all scarred up. He had like, it looked like he'd been in an explosion and stuff. He had these goggles. He had a little helicopter drone. He had all this stuff that isn't normally associated with Firefly. So they gave us this one here, which is more of a classic Firefly. So it is better, in my opinion. I like this one more. But it's not that different from that guy. It's still a guy in gray camo with the ski mask.
It's like the two Storm Shadows. There's like a subtle difference between the paint, and the only other thing is the sleeveless or hand. He doesn't have gloves on.
Yeah, like a lot of the figures. Sometimes they make very minor changes. Yeah. And like, this is more than a minor change, I would say. Like, they did actually... He's got a different head. He's got different web gear. He's got different accessories. He probably had some other different, like, I think his arms are different, because that one there, he's got kind of like a cable knit sweater on, and this guy's smooth. So it's pretty much an entirely different figure. They might have the same legs or something. But it's just, it's still too similar that I couldn't get all that excited about it. It's cool. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad I bought him, but
I do like him because he's the only one I have. But
yeah, if I had missed the previous one, I would probably love this figure too. And I do like his little
remote control car.
Remote control car bomb or whatever.
It just fits really snugly on the back.
Yeah, attaches to his like backpack there. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I like him. But I don't think this guy will really have a shot at my like best of the year list or anything, just because, just like with the Tomax figure, even though it's a new figure, I had a figure that was just like it last year, so it kind of like takes the shine off a little bit. So that's kind of how I feel about this guy. All right, what next? Do you want to talk about the Walmart exclusives?
Yeah, sure. Let's raise my blood pressure a little.
So you didn't get either of these guys, or did you get one?
Big Ben.
You got Big Ben.
I got Big Ben.
All right, so let's talk about Big Ben first. Big Ben is cool. He's like a UK member of G.I. Joe. This is when G.I. Joe first started kind of going international. Now, for those of you that don't know, G.I. Joe has actually been international to Canada for a long time, because in Canada, when I was a kid, they changed the birthplace of a lot of the characters on the file card. So if you were in the States and you bought a character, like I'll just say like Breaker, he was probably born in Missouri. But when you bought it in Canada, it said he was...
Missouri.
Wherever. It said he was born in like Montreal or something. Yeah. So, to Canadian kids, they always kind of saw G.I. Joe as like, oh yeah, they're not just American military, they're embracing international. But...
Except for the real American hero. Right?
Yeah, the real American hero. But like in the, I think, the lore,
yeah,
Big Ben was kind of the first international inductee to the group. So yeah, he's a British dude. I didn't have him as a kid because he didn't come out until 1991, which was like after I had stopped buying G.I. Joes. But I like the character, and I did have later versions of him in like the 2000s line, the 4-inch line and stuff. And I think this is a cool figure. What do you think?
Yeah, he comes with really heavy firepower, which I don't want to complain about the soft goods guns as always, because they always come bent, and it's like, how do they bend like that? They're in a nice little parchment pouch, I guess, and
sometimes even come in cardboard
like inserts. Yeah, so it's like it's protected.
Yeah, the guns are too soft.
But other than that, like, I think he's a kind of cool character. His face is a little weird just because he's like, he's got this like smug look, but his head sits forward a little. So I don't know.
Yeah,
he's cool. I forget what other accessories he came with. Did he come with another helmet?
Yeah, he came with a gas mask.
Gas mask. Yeah.
So yeah, here's the stuff. He's got a bullet belt that he can wear around his chest, but he didn't put on because he's already got bullet belt basically, and then he's got another like a grenade launcher here, and then he's got a gas mask, so he looks like somebody out of like Chernobyl or something. It's cool, but
you got a grenade launcher?
Or whatever this is.
Did I have those?
I'm sure you did. Maybe that came with Range Viper. Maybe I threw his accessories in there together.
Yeah, I don't remember getting that, but the gas mask head, I think...
You know what? Maybe that bullet belt is Range Viper's too, now that I think about it.
It might be.
Okay,
so I'm not crazy.
So scratch that. He came with the extra helmet, but yeah, those other accessories out there, those belong to Range Viper.
I think the helmet is cool. I was going to display him like that, and that's why I asked you how you were going to display him, and you said... no gas mask, true to the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like if I put that on, I wouldn't know who it was.
Yeah.
But looking at it, so.
Although, this figure, I didn't even necessarily realize it when I pre-ordered it a couple of months back. But this one is billed, like on the box it says Night Force.
Yeah.
Big Ben. And I wouldn't have thought that because Big Ben, the way I remember him, the first version of him, was green. Mm. Now this is a Night Force version.
Like I'm colorblind. I'd say he's like a grayish.
I'd say he's green. He's maybe a darker shade of green. But yeah, so this looks to me like the basic version. I think a Night Force version should have been black or something. I don't know. I don't remember what the vintage Night Force Big Ben looked like and how different it was from the original. But when I see this one, it doesn't scream Night Force to me. It looks like Big Ben in his standard colors. But the fact that they're calling this Night Force Big Ben leads me to believe that probably within a couple of months we'll get a re-release called just regular Big Ben, not Night Force.
And watch him be in black.
Maybe. But at least then you could maybe have this guy on your shelf and then you could put the gas mask on the other guy or something.
Yeah.
And then they would actually look like different characters on the shelf together. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with Big Ben. There's so many other cool Joes this year. I don't know if he has much of a shot at making my best of the year list, but I think he's a good enough figure that he definitely could be considered for a best of the year list.
Now the other Walmart... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yep, you go ahead.
The other Walmart figure was Range Viper.
Yeah.
And I'm sour about that one because...
Because he's awesome?
Well, because he's awesome, and for whatever reason, I didn't pre-order him. Now, I'm trying to think if this was before I was all in to Classified, and I was only getting, like, certain ones.
Yeah.
But this guy is sick, and I'm so sour. And I've been browsing, like, Walmart to see if they're putting them back up, and just no dice.
But, like, you are getting a repainted one. This is in that Hiss Tank Strike Team
Yeah,
set.
I know, but...
Yeah, this one is cool. And this one is based, like, this color scheme with the blue skull, it's the original one based on the 1990 figure. I didn't have it when I was a kid because 1990 was the last year I ever bought a G.I. Joe figure, and I did not buy him. But I always liked him. My little brother Brian had a Range Viper, and I thought he was cool. Although he wasn't as cool as this one because even though you could tell he had a skull mask, it was kind of a stylized skull mask. Like he didn't have a nose. It was like skull teeth and kind of skull eyes. So the old ones were weird looking, but I would say almost cute in a weird way. This isn't cute. Like this looks like a
terrifying.
Yeah, he's scary. And I think this figure's awesome. Like I was expecting it to be cool, but once I got him in hand and looking at him with all his cool accessories, his little pickaxe and everything, like I love it.
Yeah, this probably sounds super weird, but I'm a fan of some of these backpacks that have components that attach like right into
the
figure. I don't know what it is, but this guy looks super cool. I love this blue. Is that a black or a gray?
The base of him is black, like black pants, gray boots, blue shirt, kind of blue face.
I am legit colorblind. Have difficulty seeing certain shades, so yeah. Okay. I guess the blue works very well with the black here. You know, I'm jealous.
Yeah. And like I never understood why this guy had a skull face with a brain attached.
That's weird.
And even in the vintage line, like when they didn't explain it on the packaging, because sometimes with some of the characters, like it would say like the reason these guys, like the Hydro Viper, they had like webbed fingers.
Yeah.
And it would say Cobra Commander used fish DNA to make the Hydro Vipers able to swim. But this guy, they're just like, yeah, Range Vipers are dangerous. And like I'm like, why does he have a brain for a head and a skull face? Like it's weird. And I don't think they've ever really explained it. But it's a cool design. I'm sure just with like any of the other Cobra Troopers, it's going to be subject to repaints. So even if you never get this one.
I know, but I want them.
Yeah, we've pre-ordered what they call the Hiss Tank Strike Team or something. And it's 3 troopers. It's a Cobra Trooper, a Cobra Officer, and a Cobra Range Viper, I think. And they're all painted in black and red to match the Hiss Tank. So he's in that pack. But there was also in 2002, there was a character called Skullbuster. And he was the commander of the Range Vipers. Okay. And he looked the same as the Range Vipers, but he had his own unique color scheme, and his skull was white and everything. I'm sure they're going to repaint this into Skullbuster eventually. In the 4-inch line, they had a Jungle Range Viper that was green and black. I hope we get an update of that. That would be cool.
So this 3-pack that's coming out, are you also getting those in the Hiss Tank?
No.
Itself, they're different characters. Yeah.
So the Hiss Tank... that comes with a Hiss pilot, a Hiss gunner, and a Hiss female gunner. I don't know. But the Hiss pilot has a very distinct look. They have like thigh-high boots. They have this kind of like weird, like almost little mohawky thing
Yeah.
on top of it. So these 3 characters are all basically variations of the Hiss driver. And then it comes with a bonus Cobra Commander. So yeah, that Hiss Trooper pack that was sold separately that we both pre-ordered, it's not any of the same toys that are in the Hiss tank. So
Okay.
just a companion
Good to
piece.
know.
Yeah. Alright. Man, still so many figures to talk about. Let's jump ahead to Steel Brigade.
Sure.
Now, technically, they're not called Steel Brigade anymore. They're called
Steel Core.
Steel Corps. But we know the truth. So, for those not familiar, back in, I want to say, 87, Hasbro ran a promotion where it was like, you could be the next G.I. Joe. And they had a generic G.I. Joe trooper, so you couldn't see any of his skin, so you couldn't really tell what color, he was, if he was a white guy or black guy. You couldn't even really tell if he was a male or female. It looked like a male, but, you never know. And you were supposed to send in, some points of proofs of purchase and a couple of bucks, and you got to fill out your own file card, and you got to pick your own code name. So you could say if you wanted to be, Pizza Cat, and you wanted to be a ninja, they would send you this figure. A file card would say Chad, Pizza Cat. He'd come with a sword, and they were called the Steel Brigade, and they were really cool.
Yeah.
I had one when I was a kid, but I didn't order it, so I don't have the custom file card. I bought them secondhand. But anyway, he's very cool, and they've done the Steel Brigade multiple times over the years. And then a couple of years ago, 2 years ago or so, Bobby Valla, who does a rival toy line called Action Force, he swept in and scooped up the copyright while it was inactive or something. I guess Hasbro has to constantly pay to update all their copyrights for all the names of all their characters. And sometimes they let things lapse, and they fall through the cracks. And so yeah, he went and he copyrighted the name Steel Brigade. So now Hasbro can't use it. And so they're calling these guys Steel Corps. But we know what they're. Now this is cool because it is a 2-pack with a male and for the first time ever, a female Steel Brigade. So, what do you think?
I think these guys are cool. I don't know why they included 2 different helmets.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was a little weird. 2 of the same helmets, just different color visor. I think they were orange.
Yeah, but they're different. They're totally different in design.
Are they?
Yeah, they're more like they look like a Halo helmet to me.
Master Chief helmet? Oh, yeah, okay.
But yeah, so
Disregard.
I get it because this is the kind of set where these are just troop builders. So if they wanted to...
oh, yeah, okay, they are different.
If they wanted guys like us to buy it multiple times, by giving us extra heads, it allows us more display options. So yeah, it looks like they have kind of their standard Steel Brigade head. And I'm guessing these other heads that look like Halo helmets are intended to maybe be their pilot helmets because they both come with jetpacks. So maybe when they fly, they're supposed to have those helmets on.
Okay.
I don't know.
Makes sense then. Yeah, the dude was cool, but I was actually more excited to get the female in there because it's more fun to have equal representation in your collection where it's just not all dudes all the time, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited for the Cobra Valkyrie pack that came out, and it's where I missed out on the original Cobra Infantry figures. To me, the Valkyries kind of help fill that gap.
Yeah, no, I think this is really cool. The Cobra Valkyries are female Cobra Troopers. We've got the female Hiss pilot coming with the tank, and now we have the female Steel Brigade. Not G.I. Joe related, but Hasbro has a 2-pack for sale on Pulse right now that's got a female Shield agent and a female Hydra soldier paired together.
Did I pre-order that?
I don't know. Did you? Would you? Does that seem like it's up your alley? That's not G.I. Joe. That's Marvel Legends.
Oh, never mind. No.
Yeah, Shield and Hydra, but that's a cool thing that you can get. They're not characters that are anybody specific, but the pack comes with I think 4 or 5 different female heads, so you can display it, with masks or as blondes or as brunettes or whatever. So yeah, I really like the female trooper as well. I think that's a cool idea.
One thing I will say, and I'm a huge fan of this design, is when they put the sheath through the knife so it's facing up, and then you just draw out the handle. Because to me, not that I have a lot of experience unsheathing knives, but that would be how I would prefer to wear the knife.
Yep. I don't have a knife sheath preference, but I get it. It's cool. I like the backpacks. I think those the jetpacks.
Yeah,
those date back to the earliest days of G.I. Joe back in, I think, 82, maybe 83. They had the G.I. Joe jump pack, which was this kind of old school looking jetpack.
And I always hate the backpacks because they have, it's almost like a hexagonal shape, and then the plug is circular, and they don't stay on. So I was a bit worried with how heavy this jetpack is that it would fall off, and it's snug. I like that.
Yeah, and there's so many accessories with these guys, like a ton of blast effects.
And
I'll show you in the insert shot.
The rockets.
But that's the thing, the jetpacks have these plug-in blast effects, so it looks like they're blasting off like Iron Man or something, or the Rocketeer.
Or Astro Boy.
Or Astro Boy.
Right out of the, well.
But see, I said Iron Man at first, but then I realized he flies out of his feet. So does Astro Boy.
Yeah.
So this is probably most like the Rocketeer.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's a cool set. I think it's pretty awesome. Now, one thing to kind of make note of is, so that other Action Force line that I mentioned a moment ago, I think there's a lot of, again, silent collectors like myself that enjoy both. I don't know why you wouldn't enjoy both. They complement one another. And yet when I go online, there is like a really nasty rivalry between like really vocal people, and people are always, the Action Force people are always shitting on G.I. Joe and vice versa. I don't know why. But
well, it's funny because like Action Force wouldn't exist if G.I. Joe wasn't a thing, right? Because Bobby Valla used to
work for
Hasbro and now design the toys.
Yeah, like and I would understand why Bobby Valla might not like Hasbro because he got fired from them. Yeah. But I don't see why the fan base has to take a side one way or the other. It seems silly to me. But where Bobby Valla did, I'll use the word steal, but he got it fair and square. But where he stole the copyright for Steel Brigade out from under Hasbro, he went ahead and made his own version of the Steel Brigade in Wave 1 of his Action Force line. And it's very cool. Now, he wasn't allowed to make it look just like the G.I. Joe one, but he did the best he could. Like, he had kind of a gray helmet, he had kind of the tan pants, so it was similar. So I'll do a little split screen where you can see the two compared to one another. And then he actually beat Hasbro to the punch with the female Steel Brigade. Yeah. And this is one of those arguments where you see played out online, where once Hasbro announced they were doing a female Steel Brigade, they're like, you're copying Action Force because they did a female Steel Brigade. And whether they did or didn't, I don't really care. The more the merrier, I say. And it's kind of fair game if Bobby stole the look and name of Steel Brigade, and then now Hasbro wants to steal his idea of doing a female, whatever. So I'll do a side-by-side of both the male and the female. I do prefer the look of Hasbro's. I haven't really handled the two figures at the same time yet to really do a comparison yet, but I do think I will always err on the side of G.I. Joe just because I have a love for G.I. Joe. But the Action Force ones are very cool, and like, if you're not so OCD that you can't mix your displays, I would say you could totally put your Steel Brigade guys with your Hasbro ones, and they're going to look really good together. Some people were saying these figures were too short, and I think the Steel Brigade, if you stand him next to like Duke and stuff, he is a smidge shorter. But so what? People are different heights, so it doesn't bother me that
they can't all be 6'4".
Yeah, and the Steel Brigade, it's not a qualification. Like, he's not supposed to be a big, beefy guy necessarily. He's supposed to be an everyman. Yeah, that's the whole idea. So yeah, if he's a little bit smaller than some of the other characters, that doesn't bother me in the slightest. I think these are pretty cool, and again, possible contenders for my best of the year.
Yeah, I would agree.
I feel like Charles Xavier sitting here with his blanket over my legs. But yeah.
What am I thinking about then? Don't answer that.
Yeah. But yeah, Casey is sound asleep on my lap right now, so that's good. At least she's being quiet. Alright, so we've got, 3 more figures, I think?
Sure.
Alright, let's go. Now, you don't have this guy yet, I don't think. This is Buzzard.
Nope, I don't.
So this is a figure, I don't know why I have him already. I pre-ordered this whole wave of 5 figures. And I pre-ordered them from Big Bad initially. But then GameStop got them on their website. And it's easier for me to buy them from GameStop. Because then I don't
Even though their website sucks.
Yeah, their website does suck. But if I get them locally, I don't have to pay shipping and all that sort of stuff. So I would rather buy them from GameStop for sure. But Big Bad said, hey, we have Buzzer in stock. And I'm like, why just one of the 5 figures? And when I order from Big Bad, like I said, they get in my pile of loot. Then I usually wait a week or 2 to let a couple of more toys pile up. And then I get them shipped to me, and it takes about 3 weeks to get to me. So the fact that I've already had him in hand for over a week, that means this guy's been in my pile of loot. Like, that was like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And the other figures in the wave, like, so Agent Helix was also in this wave.
Yeah.
So she hit my pile of loot a couple of weeks after he did. And I don't know what's going on with Ripper and Hawk and the others. But yeah, he came out super early for some reason. And any thoughts?
I sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but a fucking bent chainsaw? Come on, Hasbro. Like,
Yeah.
anyways, this guy, he's a Cobra, right?
Yes.
He's got a really bony face. It's interesting.
I'll just jump in. I love him. I think his face, it is different. Like, he looks like a real person. Like,
Yeah.
G.I. shouldn't all have, these perfect square jaws or all look the exact same. Like, he's got a thinner face. He's really cool. Now, he has another cool accessory. Now it's bent, but he's got a baseball bat with
Nice.
saw blades
Okay.
buckled onto it. Like, that's a pretty intense weapon. Could you imagine smacking somebody with this thing?
Yes, I could. Anyways, I'm not a sociopath, but I don't know. He's kind of cool, I guess.
So did you have an attachment to the Dreadnoughts when you were a kid?
No.
So they were they're Zartan's biker gang.
Yeah.
And they're all from so he's English, like Torch is Australian or something, like, so they were all from different places. They all had kind of a consistent look, and yet they were all unique. They were kind of the comic relief in a lot of ways. They were kind of Zartan's like bumbling crew. They always liked drinking grape soda and stuff was kind of like an ongoing joke with them. And I don't know. I really like Buzzer.
He's got like a nice head tilt kind of face. So if I was to display him, I'd display him with like his head tilted a little bit. Like, come on, mate.
What do you think? He's got some arm hair there.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I don't know.
It's a little weird, yeah. Because it's very it's really on his forearms. It's like really thick, and then it just kind of disappears a little bit.
Yeah,
it's weird.
And he does have it on his chest, which.
Now Buzzer, he has always had these kind of like glasses that almost look like welding goggles a little bit. So he has them, but I don't think they work great. And that might piss me off if I didn't think he looked so good without them. Like, every Buzzer toy I've ever had has had these glasses just part of the sculpt. Like, you couldn't take them off. And so it's kind of part of his character. So the fact they sit so goofy on him.
That's why I said the same thing about the Baroness, why she wouldn't have like the head plugs like some of the other ones do.
Yeah, so like that could potentially make me really mad that these goggles look a little off. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not great. But I like them
Chuckles, sorry.
Yeah, I like them without the glasses.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what, I've never been able to display him without goggles on in my whole life, so I think I'm going to display him that way and whatever.
Go into your bin, never to be seen again.
Yeah. But yeah, he's got a ton of cool, besides the baseball bat, he's got his chainsaw, which this is a straight up chainsaw. The vintage toy had more of like a kind of a hybrid chainsaw gun or something. And then he's got this little bladed swinging weapon here. I don't know what that's all about, but he had the same thing in the vintage toy. Anyway, I think he's great, and I'm excited that we're getting Ripper soon too. And so yeah, hopefully we're getting the rest of the Dreadnoughts, because we need Torch. He's the other original, but then there's Monkey Wrench and Road Pig and Zanzibar and Thrasher.
Lots of guys I don't know about.
Tons of guys, and they're all very cool. Some of the Dreadnoughts were kind of designed to look like the bad guys from the Road Warriors, so they have like just like football armor on, and then like a mohawk and like a cinder block on a stick. They're just like very savage punkers. Okay, I think we're on to Tripwire. So Tripwire, do you have any history with Tripwire? Any thoughts?
No. I don't have any history with him. I do have thoughts on him.
Okay, well, give me your thoughts on him.
Initially, he's cool, but I don't know how I feel about some of the accessories he came with. Like, because he was deluxe, was he not?
Yeah, so he came in the larger box because he came with a bunch of accessories.
Which one of them was an even bigger bomb vest that doesn't sit on him properly.
Yeah, it's kind of a piece of garbage, really, if you ask me.
So, to me, that's like wasted opportunity. And then, I mean, I can understand why he would need the big, like, Hurt Locker helmet.
Yeah, like, he does have display options because he does have the bigger vest. I didn't even really try to put it on him.
I did, and it was... No.
And then he's got this full face mask.
Yeah.
Again, he looks a lot like Jeremy Renner in the Hurt Locker. Yep. Because he is, like, the mine detector.
Yep.
I don't know what his specialty is called, but yeah, like, he's... One of his accessories is a metal detector.
One of the mines also plugs in the back there.
Yeah, I think they maybe both do, because that's what the vintage figure, who came out in 83... So he was one of my first G.I. Joes. So I have a big nostalgic attachment to Tripwire. And he's one of those guys that, like, on the file card, it really fleshed him out. It said he was, like, a total klutz.
Yeah.
And that he would spill all of his drinks and he'd trip over everything, hence the name kind of like Tripwire. And yet he was the guy that was tasked with handling all the explosive material.
Yeah.
And so the file card described him as being, like, klutzy in every other part of his life except when he was handling explosives. Then all of a sudden he had, like, super focus. And so I integrated that into him whenever I played with him as a kid. Like, he was always goofing on, tripping on things and knocking things over. And yeah, so it was kind of fun. And like, this here is a nice update of him.
Yeah.
It like, I kind of wish the head looked a little bit more like the vintage one. Because at a glance, it's not immediately recognizable to me as Tripwire. Like, it's not that far off, but I think the original one, his head was like a lot rounder, and this guy, it's got a little bit more of a narrow face.
And here I am going to go off on little plugs again. Like, I feel that the arm brace for his mine detector could have had a little plug that plugged in the back of his arm, because it doesn't sit flush, and then that really kind of hinders how you can display it, because it's like, hey, it's not even fitting properly.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a small thing for me.
Yeah, I get it.
I do like his little rat, though.
Yeah, so
Apsara.
He's got some cool accessories in that the original one and the later versions that came in, like, the 4-inch line and everything, he basically looked like that. He came with a mine detector, a couple of mines, and a backpack that held the mines. This one here, they gave him a robot.
Which is also cool.
So, yeah, because, you watch any modern movie now, they send a little robot in to defuse the bomb before they send a guy in there. So, yeah, like, it's pretty simple. It has, like, an arm with a couple of joints on there. It would be kind of nice if, like, the treads moved or something, but that's probably asking a little much. And then, yeah, besides, the other thing you just mentioned is the rat. That's a kind of cool idea.
Yeah.
And
a mine detecting rat.
And do you know if that's based on any reality? I don't know. I feel like
I know that rats and mice are considered, like, very good trackers, which is kind of weird because their eyesight isn't the best.
Yeah.
They go off smell a lot. Well, so
Casey's eyeballing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like G.I. Joe, as far as I know, like, they've had lots of weird pet sidekicks over the years. Everything from, like, a stingray to, like, a parrot, a warthog. But yeah, we've never had a rat before. You never probably could have made that work in the smaller scale. Yeah. But yeah, this guy, it's a little rat with a little vest on him.
Which is kind of cute.
And yeah, it's super cool. And the fact that they gave him a name. The robot has a name too.
McLeod.
Yeah, McLeod, which I'm sure stands for something.
It does.
Because it's all, like,
it's on the box.
Yeah, and then you've got the rat. So I think that's really fun. It really kind of... So even though the vest is maybe kind of a waste, I still feel like, okay, they made this set feel like you're getting more. Because you kind of get, like, 3 characters in one. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with Tripwire. Alright. Do you have anything more on Tripwire? Or
No, we're good for a little trippy.
Okay, so one more G.I. Joe to talk about. We'll try and keep this quick. We were planning to shoot this video tonight. And even then, I was thinking, like, yeah, you can come over on Tuesday, but again, it kind of sucks because I've got another G.I. Joe that's slated to come on Thursday. Well, I checked my tracking update this morning, and all of a sudden it had jumped up to this will be delivered today. So I was like, oh, perfect. So we were both going to get this figure before you came over tonight, but you didn't get a chance to check yours out.
No, it showed up at work for me, and I was not at work today. I was at work today, but I was not at my branch. So it's waiting at my branch for me.
All right. So this is Vypra. So she is this is Python Patrol Vypra. So she's kind of, if you look at she's kind of like a Cobra Ninja.
Yeah.
I haven't actually opened this yet. I've had it for a few hours, but I decided to save it to open with you guys here. So neither of us have really seen the figure, although I don't think we're going to be shocked by it because I know what to expect.
Yeah, I was excited for it until you pointed out that it was just a repaint of the Blue Ninja.
Yeah.
And then I was like, meh, I already have it. But is that a different helmet? Or is it the same one?
So here's the thing. So here's her little, her little box with the little, all the accessories are in this little paper bag. The figure itself, she comes kind of zip tied into this little piece of cardboard.
Which is weird because some G.I. Joes have reverted back to the plastic ones. And I don't know why.
I don't know either.
I was so happy to not have to cut the plastic ones anymore because the little cardboard ones are a lot easier to deal with.
So here she is. So I'm happy about this figure. I'm happy to get it and right out of the box. Like, yeah, she's cool. I like her. But not only is it reused parts, but to me, I find that acceptable because she's based on a character that was reused parts. But we'll talk about this, I guess, at the end. But the cost.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off about the cost.
Because we got screwed.
Well, it's just that, like, this was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Target exclusive, but, like, for us, we don't have Targets in Canada, so if it's a Target exclusive, we kind of have to buy it at Hasbro Pulse, generally. And this figure came out around the same time as Tiger Force Flint. They were revealed together. And I think was there a third one, too? I don't know. But then, since then, they've also done the, like, Python Patrol Trouble Bubble and the Python Patrol Copperhead. So
which we did manage to get.
Yeah, so they announce these figures, and then they put them up for sale, but then they sell out immediately. Mm-hmm. Sometimes before I even have a chance to get them because they usually go up for sale to, like, Hasbro Premium members first, and sometimes they sell out to the Premium members before, normal members like me get to go on.
Was this the one that I gave you the heads up about? I was like, Vypra's on, or something.
You might have. I don't know. I feel we do this every couple of days, so I lose track of it. But yeah, so this was a figure. I couldn't get it when I wanted it. And so then I just have to monitor Pulse regularly to see when they go back up, because you never know. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. And then one day, Tiger Force Flint was up. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy him. So I order him. But to order one figure, shipping to Canada is about
$20 American. So
yeah, like $30 to ship. So that's like basically doubles the cost of the figure.
Yeah.
And so Flint ends up costing me like $60 or something. And then a couple of days later, Vypra's available now. Yeah. And then I have to buy her and pay another $30 shipping for her. So this figure, I think, cost me close to $70.
Yeah. It was $64.06.
Yeah. It's something that's ridiculous. Like, I don't know why Hasbro can't do what Big Bad Toy Store can do. Like, if they're not going to make them all available at the same time, like, let me buy Flint and Vypra the day they come out. I will do it. I'll buy them. You can charge my credit card the day of if you want. But, like, when you trickle them out and make me buy them one at a time, and you don't give me the option to hold them in a pile of loot, like, you're just bending me over with all these shipping charges. It's ridiculous. I can't be paying $70 for just a basic repaint figure.
At least include lube in the price.
Yeah, it's rough, man. Yeah. Definitely rough. Having said all that, I think it's a cool figure.
Yeah.
So, this body, we originally saw it on Akiko, which is like from the G.I. Joe
movie.
The Snake Eyes movie figure.
The white ninja?
Yeah, she was an original character.
Yeah.
Anyway, then they used that body again for the Blue Ninja girl, and they gave the Blue Ninja a new head. And now with this figure, she is the blue ninja. So the head, the body, the legs, repainted. But she does have Zorana's arms. So that's the differentiating.
Okay.
So the shoulder armor and the bare elbows, that's all Zorana. So she's not an exact 100% repaint of the blue ninja. And another thing that is kind of cool with her that will make her stand out a little bit from the blue ninja is, so she's got a bunch of accessories here, which you'll see in the insert later. So swords, bows and arrows, all that typical stuff. Probably a lot of the same stuff that came with the blue ninja. But they also repackaged this skull face, which originally came with the convention Zartan.
Okay.
So we don't have that convention Zartan. No. So this is new to us. And you can put this skull face over her, and that really kind of makes her look a lot more unique. So, here, try out the skull here, see how that looks. Now, personally, I think it looks cool, but I'm not going to display her with the skull.
I won't display with the skull either. I will say, looking at this, I'll never say no to a ninja figure. I love ninjas.
Yeah.
I practiced martial arts anyway. The only complaint I have is the arm can't move up a lot because of the.
I think you can.
You think?
I don't know. If you feel, I don't force it. I don't.
Oh no, I'm not gonna.
But the shoulder thing is kind of softer rubber. I think you could probably get it up there a little bit.
Work something out. I do like the colors too. I think that's a black and maroon.
Yep.
And yellow.
Yeah, it's a nice complementary kind of colors, I think. One thing I kind of wish they had done with her is, so just for a little bit of history on her, she is not a character from the vintage toy line. But the vintage G.I. Joe line ended in 1994.
Yeah.
And then in the late 90s, Hasbro started trickling out some repaints to kind of test the waters again. And so they were these Toys R Us exclusive, 2 and 3 packs of characters. And so they repainted Jinx, the red G.I. Joe female ninja, and they painted her in kind of gray or blue or whatever, and they called it Vypra. And she was the Cobra mechanic. So here she is, clearly dressed from head to toe as a ninja, with a little ninja mask and everything, and yet she's a mechanic. She came packaged with a Jeep. And it's okay, I guess, whatever. But then they did, a couple years later, they did Vypra version 2 and Vypra version 3. And she was clearly a ninja at that point. She came with, swords and a sash and all this other, she was all ninja'd out. And then in the 4-inch line, they did Vypra. And they did a nice little thing to her. So it was still Jinx, but instead of Jinx's little, ninja shoes, they gave her combat boots. Which was a small change, but I was good. If she's a mechanic and she's working in the garage, she shouldn't have little slippers on. She should have the combat boots. And so I really thought that small detail helped distinguish Vypra a little bit from Jinx. So I kind of wish they did that here too. They seem to be definitely leaning into the ninja thing less than the mechanic thing. And they don't have file cards on the new boxes, so it doesn't really elaborate how they see her one way or the other, but she's clearly a ninja with her accessories and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, she's a character that has been around now for a while. There have been multiple iterations of her. And yeah, I like her. But
I could live with her.
It still seems kind of weird to me that I don't think they've even announced Jinx yet.
No.
And as soon as I saw the blue female ninja, which is basically a blue version of what Jinx should look like, I'm okay, well, clearly they're going to use this again for Jinx. And now we've got it in as Vypra, who was always kind of a knockoff Jinx, and we still don't have Jinx.
Jinx is all red, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this mold would have looked just fine for Jinx, but now, if they give me Jinx now, and it's just this figure again, I'll feel a little ripped off. I'm I've already got it on Akiko, on Blue Ninja, on Vypra. At this point, I feel Jinx deserves a whole new sculpt. Even if it's similar to this one, I just feel they've kind of milked this one to death, and we need something else. But another little funny thing about this one too is, so before I did YouTube, I had a toy blog
Yes.
You can find it at mikescollection.wordpress.com. And there's lots and lots of reviews on there, like hundreds of reviews. And I reviewed one of the old Vypra figures on that blog, and I kind of dissed the name a little bit, because a lot of the vintage G.I. Joes, I don't know if you know this, but they had silly, like the real names were silly. So like the guy that drives the hovercraft, Cutter, if you look at his file card, his like birth name is Skip A. Stone. Like that's supposed to be his name. And like Alpine, the mountain climber, his real name was Al Pine. Like it's kind of silly puns and things like that. And Vypra's real name, it was rare for a Cobra character to even have a real name. Yeah. Usually it just said like unknown or classified or something. Anyway, her name was Anne A. Conda. Like that was her real name. Anyway, so in my blog I said, and of course they gave her one of those stupid names like Anne A. Conda. And then a guy commented on my blog. Now I didn't authenticate it, but it seems like a silly thing to lie about. But a guy commented on my blog and said, hey, I'm the guy that came up with Anne A. Conda. I worked for Hasbro, in the late 90s or whatever, and I was just trying to honor the tradition of coming up with campy names for G.I. Joes and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, geez. I felt a little bad. I never expected anybody that worked for Hasbro to
check out your blog,
to look at my blog, and because I actually do, like, I don't really mind that much if they give them silly little names. The names are kind of forgotten pretty quickly, except for guys like you who call G.I. Joes by their first names.
All right, we're on that first name basis.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I don't have much more to say about her. We should wrap this up, but
yeah,
a good figure. Hopefully you enjoy her when you get her tomorrow.
I will have a look and try my best.
All right. So why don't you sign things off here?
All right. So thanks for watching. There were some weird kind of moments in there with Casey and
I might be able to edit out any of the stoppages. Yeah. We'll see.
Anyways, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, what did you think about all these Joes we got? There's quite a few that have gone up for pre-orders since then. Yeah. It seems like it's a never-ending struggle to like pin down time, because as soon as we get them, it's like out of date, because
we just pre-ordered Metalhead and Mutt the other day. Like I've been keeping a list on my phone, and I still have probably like 30 outstanding pre-orders. Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy, but that's collecting.
Yeah. That being said, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave us those comments. Let us know what you thought about this. And until next time, keep collecting.
Ciao.